Hi, Nika.
Hello, sir.
Hi, so we have another question from a student, and then so I thought we should discuss about that. It's somebody that's a very beginner, supposedly.
Okay.
So can you read the question for me, please?
All right. I suppose it might be challenging for me to take online lessons since I don't even understand the simplest words in English. Please let me know if there is anything I should do to prepare for lessons if I don't speak English at all. That's
Okay.
the question.
All right, thank you. All right, so what's your take on that?
I believe that the student should probably use an application just to get the foundation of basic words, basic vocabulary, and basic grammar in English. So I would suggest using applications such as Duolingo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they could try using that application for a few months. And then once they already have a grasp of the language, the English language, how it works, how to structure basic sentences, then they could start checking out some lessons at Brighture.
Okay. I actually use that app. I take
Do?
Chinese lessons on that. Do you use it at all?
I do. But not nowadays, but I used to use Duolingo to learn Spanish
Okay.
before.
Yeah,
Yes.
it really keeps you going. It's like if you are like about to miss your lesson, they will send you an email saying, "Hey, you're gonna lose your 100-day streak or whatever," and then you feel obliged to like get on and do it.
Right. And they also have like some kind of competition. And if you're a competitive person,
Yeah.
so you would definitely do your best to maintain your streak. So that would allow you to be consistent in learning the language that you're currently learning.
Yeah. I was like, once I was totally hooked. And then I can't remember the highest league. I think it was called Diamond League or something like that.
Oh, you've reached the Diamond
I
League.
did, and I even took first place there once. But I had to use the app at least an hour every day to get there. I was spending so much time on it. I was like, what am I doing myself? Like it was pretty funny. But anyway, it got me going, Without the app, I don't think I would have continued. And so if this student isn't good at books, some people are just not good at learning from books, right?
Right.
And if he or she's that kind of type, I think this person probably would benefit from using applications like Duolingo.
Right.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Any other apps you may suggest?
Well, apart from Duolingo, I would suggest Hello Talk. So yeah, probably this would be a good way to apply whatever it is that you have learned from Duolingo. I mean, after you have learned the structure, vocabulary, the best way to retain them would be to apply them. And apart from taking lessons, another way to apply them would be to communicate with people who speak that language. I think such kind of environment will help you think independently and apply whatever it is that you have learned previously.
Yeah, okay, true. So Hello Talk is some kind of like a social connectivity, social media type thing where you find you a match to do a language exchange, right?
Right. It works similarly to that.
Okay, so my wife, I think, was using that for a while. You find somebody who speaks your target language fluently, who happens to wants to learn your own native tongue as well. So for my case, that would be like Japanese as native language, and then maybe Chinese as the target language, and then we can hook up, and I can teach a little bit of Chinese. I can try to speak I can teach a little bit of Japanese, and I can try to speak in Chinese, and vice versa, and then learn something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All
That's
right.
right.
Did you find that helpful?
It was pretty helpful for me. But so what I did was I communicated with people who are fluent in my target language and a beginner in English, let's say, because that's the language that I set in my
Okay.
for me, I mean,
Okay.
yes. And so the first time would be probably chatting, but then it has like features that would translate some sentences if you cannot
Okay.
understand them.
I
And
see.
then after that, we did have like calls. So it also has a feature there. So let's say 30 minutes would be for one language and the other 30 minutes would be for the other language.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you can really do a language exchange.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So after those stuff, like I would say spend like 3 months to 6 months in Duolingo and HelloTalk, either that or maybe both. And then once you start getting your confidence up, maybe then start taking the online lessons. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree, sir.
Okay. If he or she is to take lessons from Brighture, what subject would you recommend?
I would recommend a few subjects, let's say PP for one, phonics and pronunciation, because in order for them to communicate effectively, they have to understand the sounds present in the English language, I think, and knowing how to produce those sounds would let them communicate clearly and more effectively.
I
That and yes. Should they also wish to learn how to construct different sentence patterns, I would also suggest taking Grammar 101.
Okay.
And if they wish to improve their fluency, they'll be able to communicate, ask questions, have small talk, then I would suggest taking daily conversation lessons too.
Okay. And you were like saying that listening and speaking also may help because it's like for beginners, it's like you don't have to like exchange conversations. It's more like just listening and then speech.
Yes,
It's a lot easier
that's
to
right.
handle for beginners as well.
Right. I
Yeah.
think so.
Other part is the time bound speech, but for beginners, we don't even set time bound. It's like, okay, speak, right? So yeah, it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, and for we also have not only the time-bounded speech, but we have interview questions too.
Yeah.
And for beginner students, I mean that would like they can be given more than one question and they that would allow more room for speaking, I suppose.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. So the tip number one would be to use apps such as Duolingo. And then maybe you can also mix that with HelloTalk, which is like a language exchange app. So you can actually like try your target language. It's number one.
That's right.
And then point two is if you had to take lessons from Brighture, start with PP because all language is made with sounds. That's it's composed of. So get used to the phonemes, sounds that used in the English language. Japanese language only have 26 phonemes, whereas English has 48 or something like that. So there are like 22 missing phonemes from Japanese. So of course, it's hard, and it's probably a good idea to learn the proper pronunciation. So PP would be a good suggestion. All right, and then what was the other one? The other one is the Grammar 101. Yeah, that teaches grammar, and it starts from like very basic as well. So that should help the students as well.
That's right.
And it also tells you like how to apply the grammar in the real conversations too. So it's a good class. And then DC, of course, you can practice a conversation, listening and speaking. You're a bit more focused on like listening and then speaking, like in the form of speech. So you learn to organize your thought as well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Something like that. Any other suggestions or thought that you may have?
Well, after or maybe during the course of taking lessons in Brighture, or maybe just doing self-study, I think it's very important to review your lessons. So take note of the vocabulary that you have learned from that particular session. Try making sentences and try using this, applying them in real life situations. I think applied knowledge is very important.
Yeah, there are a lot of students who record the lessons and then they watch it later and then go,
Yes.
what does this really mean? You know,
Right.
good way to recognize where you stand as of today and then where you should go, you know. And so
That's right.
yeah,
And
it's weird to see yourself speaking a foreign language. Definitely, even your own
yeah.
native tongue, it's just it freaks you out.
Yes. And also on that note, if I may answer, I think students, a lot of like beginner students have this tendency to be afraid of making mistakes. They're very conscious about constructing sentences. But for every language learner out there, I want to say that they shouldn't be afraid about making mistakes because it's one way of learning. It's not only absorbing knowledge, but also realizing your mistakes and doing something to correct them. And of course, like keeping the lessons that you have learned so that you don't make the same mistakes again in the future.
Yeah, and then I would even say, hey, it's okay to make same mistakes again, but you eventually start making less mistakes, right? I mean, more or less frequently. So, I mean, time you'll get there. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Just go on, speak. Yeah,
Right.
get feedback and then improvise, right? Okay.
I agree.
All right, I think we're done for today. Thanks for your time, Nika.
Thank you too, sir, for having me. And thank you for sharing some of your insights in today's conversation.
Okay, so for the viewers, if you like the content that you're watching, please click like and then, subscribe to our channel as well. And we hope to see you soon again. Bye.
Bye.